Thank you for staying with us. My name is Emefa Akosia Adeti. And so in light of World Menstrual Hygiene Day on the 28th day of May, today we throw more light on the topic World Menstrual Hygiene Day, particularly menstrual hygiene. And this morning, I've got a rather interesting person to have a conversation. I know by now you're all expecting a woman. Yes, this is one of the attempts we're trying to at least demystify that whole conversation where people think it has to be only a woman that will talk about menstruation. And so this morning, I've got Mr. Kwame Grundo. He's the enterprise leader. You'd find him at Live Right, which is a subsidiary of Days for Girls, a company you know by now is trying hard to take the conversation about menstruation a little higher so that our girls and everybody who needs to know what they have to know about menstruation and menstrual hygiene is well aware. Good morning and thank you for joining us. And so later in the conversation, I'll tell you what else today is. Today is World Tobacco Day. We'll have a conversation later about that. I'll give you what the update the Ministry of Health has been giving us. But let's concentrate on Menstrual Hygiene Day. How on the 28th, did you do something?
Yeah, on the 28th of May, we actually observe it on the Friday.
Okay.
So we're targeting a school, and that was the only day you can get them in school.
Okay.
So we visited, we made a little bit of change, because for the past 7 years, we've been going to the normal stream. We don't go to schools with disability. Okay. So this already we went to a school that has some form of disability to see how best they can also manage their period.
Oh wow. Oh, that's interesting. And what was the objective and what did you achieve at the end of the day?
Yes. So the objective, in particular, if you look at people with disability, let's say the person, someone who is visually impaired, it will be difficult to even change his or her part. Wow. Now, I'm using his or her because the term has changed. No more just girls and women. We say people who menstruate or menstruators. Because there are people who menstruate who are not girls. So you just saying girls and women, you are limiting the discussion.
Really?
Yes.
Who are those menstruating and they're not girls?
Oh yeah, someone by nature is giving birth to. It's not a male. It's not a female. It's
okay.
And then the person menstruates. Okay. So you just saying a girl, you are limiting that fellow.
All right. Yeah. Like a hermaphrodite.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we say people who menstruate.
Right.
So when there to see how, and then if you look at them, so someone who is visually impaired, it's difficult to change his or her part. So if you are supplying such a person with a menstrual kit, it will be better to go for something like period underwear. That the person that didn't want to watch into the kits or the underwear, just wear it like a panty, and then it's gone. And that's easier.
Let's stay at where the disability. I didn't even think about it, And so on Friday, which of the institutions did you go to?
Yeah, Tetel Close State School for the Deaf.
Okay, wow, for the deaf.
For the deaf.
Okay, and what are some of the things you taught them to do and how did they understand what you were saying?
Yeah, so fortunately for our case, I think somewhere last year in October, Ministry for Sanitation went there to do a donation. And then because this for girl, we are championing it. When they go and they took us along. So we did the initial discussion on how they use the washable kits, that's the cloth part.
Yes.
Yeah, so this time when we went to see what are their experiences. Because you can have somebody who's in KG1 and she's menstruating or he's menstruating.
Wow. In
KG1. And the reason is because the person cannot hear, the parent think it's a spiritual something. So they keep going from church to church. Before the person starts KG, is 12 years or she's 12 years. So the person will be in KG and is menstruating. So it's very difficult to get them in class most of the time. Okay,
so currently in Ghana, what's the minimum age you have heard about a person menstruating?
I think now it's very early. Some start from 10, but some they should maybe 12 years going, then they start menstruating.
Okay. And so from KG, you observed that from KG1, KG2, you had people.
Yes, actually the school gave us a list of part for each class. So when we're going in KG, you have a number of people. Class 1, you have a number of people. So GHS story. Okay.
How difficult or easy was it to communicate to this group of people?
Yeah, so I think that's a very good question. But I cannot speak in sign language. So they had menstrual health, they call them SHEP coordinators, that's School Health Education Program coordinators. So these are people we also follow on. So when you go, like I talk, then the person doing a sign language, and then they give the feedback. Some you may try to understand, but the person may also, like if they have a question, the person also give the question back to you.
And interpret it.
Yeah, then you also explain and then it goes that way.
Okay.
It's quite difficult, but I think it's good to bring the conversation. Otherwise, will not be inclusive enough. And then our policies as a country, we're leaving them out. In constructing the facility, and don't consider person with disability difficult.
Yeah.
Assuming the person cannot walk and then the seat is that high, how does she climb on it to change the kit or the pad?
Yeah.
So in such instances, you should bring them to the low level so that they'll find it very comfortable to go in and out.
I see. Have you visited a visually impaired institution yet?
Not yet.
Okay. And if you would go, what different message did you take?
Yes. So I think with the what has actually empowered us more is not just this for girls. We have this TPP project, that's the PAD project, which I just completed this year.
Okay.
So I think that's where we have to discuss period intersectionalities. And this is where the conversation was. Because if I was going to a school with visually impaired people before, I would just go carry my own kit that I have, like the washable kits. I wouldn't even think of period panties or period underwear.
Yeah.
But if I'm now going to a school with visually impaired people, then I have to look for the right kit. Otherwise, you give them, but using it will be difficult. You need someone to come and fix it for you.
Yeah.
And that will not be very, because this is something of privacy. So if I can just be in my corner and wear it and go, I think that will be more solving the problem. So I think this is something that I will do differently, going with something that will meet their need.
Their need.
Yes.
Okay. Before we go to the hygiene part of menstruation, let's still stay on menstruation. And in all of your findings, what are some of the myths you have heard? Let's open up the conversation, not limiting it to challenged persons, but some of the myths you have heard that even you as a man, you're stunned.
Yeah. I think let me focus on Ghana. Because what they made, some of them are across, not just in Ghana.
Okay, let's stick to Ghana.
Yes, to Ghana. So it's claimed that someone menstruating is unclean. There are some communities that if you're menstruating, you don't even share with other people. Your chair is different. When you are menstruating, the days of your menstrual, for those 7 days, your room is different.
So wait, is it that when the person is menstruating, he or she goes to, announce it and they know the date, or how would the community even know that this person is menstruating and they wouldn't even want to share a chair with them?
It's in the household. So
right,
if it's in your house, your mom knows.
Yes.
She wouldn't allow you to cook that day.
Right.
Because the man will not eat. So as a result of that, she has to stay aside.
Okay.
And then she don't touch anything. She has her own thing she used to do this kind of stuff.
So let's still stay on that. Could it be that because the hygiene part of menstruation was not, talked about, years ago, and people didn't find ways to be very hygienic, this is why parents or mothers would rather have you stay away from food, stay away from water and all of that? Could it be, or this is purely supernatural beliefs?
Yeah, I think it's maybe both, because we have something we call free bleeding.
What is that?
Free bleeding is when in your period don't use any material. You don't put on a pad, nothing. You just go that way. Okay. So that's free bleeding.
At what point does that happen?
Oh,
is it the person's decision, or it is the one that comes unannounced? You don't know. It just comes. That's what you call the free.
It's the person's decision.
Okay.
I wouldn't use anything.
Okay.
So that's free bleeding.
Right.
So in that instance, even it's going to limit your movements.
Yeah.
And then it's very likely you come into contact with blood. So in that case, if you are going to cook for somebody, it's as if the blood may come into contact with the food. But looking at evolution or development, I'm not sure even out of 100 girls, you have one person say, I'm going to do free bleeding.
Right.
But you want to move, you want to socialize with people, so you put on something. So it's no more that I'm going to get into contact with blood, so I don't have to cook.
Okay.
Just like we move in town. I don't know who people are selling, or how do you know someone is menstruating or not? So I think the high component is something that was limiting that kind of social bond that we need to have. Okay,
it'll be a good time to tell us what menstrual hygiene is particularly. Yes. Is it different from menstrual hygiene management?
Yes, so we have menstrual hygiene, menstrual health, and then menstrual hygiene management.
All right. Menstrual hygiene, menstrual health, and menstrual hygiene management. So which one do we talk about for the menstrual health?
So the hygiene will lead to the health.
Okay, let's go.
So if assuming I'm menstruating, what material do I need to use? Because immediately blood within us is clean, but immediately it comes out of our body, it's the environment. So it may come, many bacteria may come into contact with it. And as a result of that, how you manage blood is what we call the hygiene aspect of it. Okay. So assuming the blood is coming out, and then whatever material you to hold the blood, you call them materials. Okay. We also have menstrual supplies. So if you have the right menstrual material. Let's say whether a pad, a tampon, a menstrual disc, a menstrual cup, the underwear, or wherever.
Easy. So you've got menstrual materials,
yes.
and then you've got menstrual supplies. So now you're telling us about the menstrual materials. And under the materials, we have
the menstrual cup.
Okay.
We have the tampons.
Okay.
We have the cloth pad.
Okay.
We have menstrual discs and a whole lot of
how does that look? I'll task Jennifer to find a picture of that and show us how the menstrual disc looks like. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how you use this material to hold the blood until you dispose it is a menstrual hygiene management.
Okay.
It's like the process
of it
when the blood is coming. And then this is how it happens. On average, women menstruate for 28 days. 28 days, you have the menstrual period. Some go as far as 32, some go 45. But it's fixed. So I menstruate 32 days. You calculate 32 minus 14.
Okay.
So it's the ovulation period that differs. By the time the ovulation happens, the next 14 days, you are going to get your period.
Okay.
So if you're able to calculate in that way, then you know that, okay, I'm going 32. So 32 minus 14, the day, and then it comes, first month may come from this side of the ovary.
Really?
The next month come from this. Yeah, it goes that it alternates.
Okay.
So if you have that kind of...
Would I know?
Yeah, you know. If you observe...
The cramps?
Yes.
Is it where the cramps are?
So the very the very first day you go to the release, you feel that kind of movement. So then the next 14, you prepare. Just put on your pad and then come out.
Okay.
So the management start from there. You making sure you have yourself well prepared. When it comes out, you have the right material to hold the blood.
Okay.
And then you dispose it safely.
Before we get to the disposal, all of these materials, which one of them is safest and which one is common in Ghana?
Yes, so I think currently, as we speak, that on the very menstrual, the recent date, 28, we went the menstrual cup just to introduce to others.
Okay.
So you can see in the system, we have a menstrual escape, which is also something you wear and you throw it away. It's like the period underwear.
Okay.
But you can put out, it's just one time use. So people are also buying that one in town. And you know we have the regular ones, like the Always, the Fatex, and all those stuff.
Okay.
Then abundance. Ghanaian, we are exposed to most of them, but the affordability is what may limit others. Okay. And then the awareness. Because if you are not aware something, you may not even use it. Okay.
Now, the common one, you introduced the cups recently, but the very common one, which is the pad, the one that's
the regular one,
the regular pads. How long, before we get to the disposal, how long should a person wear the menstrual pad before they can change? Would it depend on your flow or anything?
Yes. So it depends on your flow and then the hygiene, like.
Or you'd want us to go to the supplies first?
We can come to the supplies, but I think we can talk about.
Yeah.
So I think on average, it's like within 2 to 4 hours, depending on the flow.
Okay.
If a heavy flow, within 2 hours, you should change. If you're on a heavy flow, then within 4 hours. And then the reason is that if you are using the regular ones, because they are bleached, to make sure they get that whitish look.
Oh.
So if it stays with you for a very long time, the blood soaking the chemicals, which flows back to you. So it's better you get them off so that the blood doesn't dissolve the chemicals so that they flow back. So that's how come it's good to get them off within the 2 hours time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you want to dispose of it,
if you want
to dispose of the pad particularly, how do you dispose of it?
Yes. So it's actually a difficult thing because most people go into public toilet facilities and they dump it there. Some leave it in the water, the bowls, they flush there, and then it has implications because as it's going to cause blockage in the drain, and that's difficult. And if you leave it in the open environment too, it's estimated that each of that takes 100 years before it decomposes.
The pad, the
regular ones.
Hey.
Yeah, you leave it there. You can go somewhere and dig and put it there, and come check the next years. You see it's still there.
Wow.
It will take you about 100 years.
Why so?
Yeah, because of the material, because they are made of rubber kind of stuff. So it will take a long time for them to actually get off. Okay. So now we are saying the people should bleed green. And bleed green means you should use things that can easily, if you leave them in the environment,
they can decompose.
They can decompose. So for the cloth pad, for instance, just a normal cloth, I leave it there for the next year, it becomes substance and then it's gone. Okay. So using cloth pad, you are bleeding green.
Okay. So
and then,
So using cloth pad, which means that it's reusable,
yes.
just like what the
yes.
Days for Girls would have introduced.
Yes.
And so how safe and hygienic is the cloth?
Yes, so it also depends about how you manage it. Because let me start from this point. Yeah, like a normal cloth, if you wash it with warm water, it will bleach. So the cloth pad as well will tell you not to wash with warm water. Use cold water to wash.
But will cold water kill the other potential germs in the blood that's coming? Will cold water kill it?
The water doesn't do all the magic.
Okay.
So you usually soak it for about 2 to 12 hours. So when you soak it,
you have to soak it.
You soak the pad.
What with?
You may leave it in the normal water.
Okay.
You don't add it, leave it in the water for 2 hours, 3 hours. You go and pick it. Normally the blood will get dissolved. So even you shaking it so that it will fall off.
Okay.
You have a brush, you use it to brush off.
You don't pusa it.
Maybe before you pusa, if you feel like you don't want to come into that direct contact, like I'm saying, so that's the easy way to do. You soak it, you shake the neck so it goes off, you hold it with a brush, and then you brush.
What kind of brush?
It's not, you wouldn't use it to brush, but
like,
the
it has to look like a toothbrush.
Toothbrush, yes.
Okay.
So you use it to brush off any stains that are left, and then you can now wash.
Oh, right. Okay.
So after the washing, the drying does most of the killing.
Okay.
Or you hang it in the sun, and then to kill off any other bacteria. Some go the extra mile to iron. That is if you have light. Okay.
Is it safe to iron?
It's safe to iron, but you don't iron the. We are doing two. We have the liner. The liner is, if you take the pad, we have the shield is the one you put. I didn't bring them here.
Okay, so
very good.
This is how it looks. The
yes.
cloth.
Yes.
The cloth.
So if I can go.
Can I have him go to the screen? Yeah, please. You can. You can. Yeah.
All right. So this has been joined together. If you look at this very one.
Yes.
So this is the liner here, and this is the shield.
Okay.
There are instances where these are separated.
Right. Okay.
So you can actually iron the liner, but you can't iron the shield because the shield has a rubber in it. So if you iron, it will melt it.
Oh, so it's the rubber that protects the.
Yes. So the blood will not come to your panty.
Stain your. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So this is how it goes. So you hang them and then, so you iron this. As I said, if you want to, you iron this and then actually.
Okay, so in cleaning of the reusable cloth, I'm asking this because Days for Girls have introduced this one as affordable. Still, our sisters and persons who use in the rural communities who can afford it would depend on the regular cloth that we know. And so I'm asking so that they can stay a bit hygienic. But in all of it, you didn't mention soap. The soap playing in it.
The soap plays a role.
Okay, so after you have soaked it for 12 hours.
2 to 12. So depending on how.
Oh, right. Depending on how heavy you are, then you can. At what point do you use the soap?
Yeah. So before you like the poster you're saying, before you actually begin washing it, you use. So when we are even giving this out, it's a kit like you say. So it comes with a soap. We give you the initial soap. We give you a panty about 2. We give you a set of liners and then the shield.
Okay.
Because you have to be changing. And then the soap is also give you that kind of hygiene aspect because you have to wash your hands.
Yeah.
Even if they should sew, after sewing the kit for the first time, before you use, we say you should wash it. So the soap inside is telling you, before you actually use for the first time, make sure you wash it. Okay.
And so can I use the same panty or underwear, but I can change the material that I put in there? That's safe, right?
It's very safe.
Okay. Okay, so let's get a photo of the disc, how the disc looks. So this is how the cloth looks.
Yes.
This is just mimicking what we used to know, years ago, but a little more improved, But let's have a picture of how the disc looks. Whilst Jennifer is looking for that. Yes, this is how the, What particularly does it look like? A disc, it is like.
A disc I have not seen, but for the cups, we have a number of them at.
Okay, so it looks like, then Jennifer, please show us a copy of a picture of the cups. So the cups.
And the cup is like a normal cup.
That collects,
yeah. And I think it's somewhere around 1938 that it was a man which actually brought that initiative. We were thinking about, how people find it difficult in actually keeping the material. If I don't have a panty, how do I? So we were thinking like, why don't I get a belt? Someone puts on a belt and there should be something hanging to be collecting the blood. So this is how the
the cup started.
idea started.
Okay.
And then he kept developing it until it's found out now there's something which can actually be inserted.
So the cup now can insert, and then it will collect the blood. But how easy or difficult is it? Would you want to take the cup that's collected the blood and not spill it and, you know, stay in the place?
Yeah, I think it's...
So the cup, we've got a picture of how the cup looks.
So it's very important. So to get it out, getting in is one thing, getting it out is another thing.
Okay.
You have to be relaxed before, because it needs some kind of, should I say, moisture. It should be moist for it to come out easily.
So that you're not hurt.
Yes. So when it's in and then you are tensed, that may become difficult.
Okay.
So to get it out again.
Yeah, please do.
So,
feel free.
And this thing here can actually is there, but you can actually cut it off to a very sizable length if it pinches your legs.
Okay.
So you can cut this one off. So to get it off, you sit on the toilet seat.
Okay.
And then you relaxed, and then you pull.
Okay. Is it soft? Is the material
soft? It's soft, yes. So you hold this side, and then you pull. You're relaxed. You can sit down for just like 1 minute. You feel your...
First, show us how you can get it inside before you pull.
Yes. So to get it inside, like I said, the first thing you wash your hands.
Right.
After washing your hands, you get it out, and then you can also wash it with water.
Okay.
For the very first time, they'll tell you to even boil, just to kill any bacteria inside. So let's say you have some water heated, I put it inside after 5 minutes, I take it out. After taking it, it's going to be very hot, so you have to wait a while.
Okay.
And then it dries off, and then you now pull it. You can pull one of this side inside, or just make it flat and hold the tip together. And then when you do that, it becomes easier. And then the section there, many ways you can stand with one of your legs raised, like on the toilet seat.
Okay, similar to tampons.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can have a very clear opening, and then you insert that.
Okay.
And then you rotate it. If you rotate and have that kind of 360 movement, that means well inserted.
Okay. 190 cry is not inserted.
Yeah, it should be moving. If it moves at 360, that means it's actually okay. Or if you are not hearing impaired, you hear a pop sound, that means it has open. Yes, allocate. So
okay.
But assuming someone who can't hear, then you try rotating it, and if you move that kind of 360, you know you are okay.
Okay. And so then, so what then would be menstrual supplies? I would have thought that these are supplies.
So these are material. When we talk of the supplies, it's things that support, like the water.
Okay.
Because you can't do without water. Okay. You need a room, let's say a toilet room or wherever. If you don't, let's say in your room like this, if people are here, you cannot. So you need a very private room. That's also a supply. Torchlight is a supply. Why torchlight? Why torchlight? Assume you are in the house where there's no light, and then you get out. You don't know which of your side is soiled.
Yeah.
You need the light to go and then also clean yourself.
Okay.
And I think it's very important.
Okay.
Not just in rural areas. Lights out can come at any time. So just getting your buckets aside. And buckets also supply a bucket of water, always preserved. So that any day you go into the washroom, let's say you go and then there's a blood spill, we don't leave it there for people to come and see. You can actually fetch the water and pour it on it for it to go. So this one, we don't put them there, but I'll call them supplies, and they're very necessary. So now, if you look at the Gamma project, that's the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area Sanitation Water Project, World Bank funded. It was one of the approach the World Bank was trying to do. In schools, the toilets were having gender-friendly facilities where girls can actually go and wash.
Okay.
So these are supplies that they were considering.
As you were talking, I was just thinking, if the institution has got just a washroom where we're looking to improve on menstrual hygiene, would we rather not have a separate place for just that?
Just that.
Because in washrooms, it's not just, there's so many things happen, you know, in the washroom. You may go there and rather walk out with a certain bacteria or a germ. Okay, so it means that institutions and schools, and so how can schools really help in this?
Yes, so I think it's very difficult, particularly for the government schools, because you go and some of them, maybe the toilet door is broken halfway.
Oh boy. And
you don't know whether it's WC or whatever kind of. So I think it's looking at more of support. How come? So even UNICEF, when Gamma attempted doing it, UNICEF also came in to support some of the private schools so that they could put up these toilet facilities that have all these components in them.
Okay.
So I think we are advocating anytime there's going to be any donation to a school in the form of an infrastructure, the design should be, if possible, should be altered a bit to make sure girls have changing rooms in those facilities. So they can leave your classroom, go there and lock, and then do whatever you want to do. if there's any stains, you clean them well before you come back.
Okay. Please join in the conversation. Hashtag Prime Morning on Twitter and even on Facebook. You can send us a message. I'd appreciate your comments as well, or any thoughts on 0551 575757. Share your questions or your comments or your thoughts with us. Now, still, I'll stay in rural communities where, knowing what Days for Girls have been doing and Live Right have been doing, it's quite difficult to get the message. The conversation around menstruation and its hygiene purposes and all of that, how easy or difficult is it to talk about generally? Has it improved?
Yes, it's improving. I think it's taking shape better now than before. Or earlier, even when we started, I think that was right after I left National Service. I joined a lady as my boss.
Okay.
And this is what she was doing. So I had to learn. Initially, I was just carrying the part to the car. But once you go out, I began learning it. So for myself, it's a change that it has had an impact on me.
Right.
So as I got married, even I was now supplying her.
Your wife?
My wife.
Right.
So I think if I'm able to do this, I can tell a friend why, if you are giving your wife a monthly budget, you should earn some money for pad.
Good.
Because
can you say that again?
Yes. So when giving monthly expenses or out-of-pocket expenses, there should be a provision for pad, and this should be the man's role or a man's job. This is the only way to contribute. If you can't educate her or your daughter or whoever, the only way to support in cash. And then by then, that means the person may not find other ways. Because if you don't give her or him, you may find other ways to get that money. And
even find other ways to menstruate, and that wouldn't be hygienic.
That won't be hygienic.
Okay.
And then when we talk about the health, it's from your mind, psychological health to your physical health, that's the menstrual health. But if I'm menstruating, I'm sitting in the classroom, I don't know whether I'm going to get a leak or a burst. You know, you have pad bursts. If you go for the local part, some of them can, in the process, it's burst and then. So you are not comfortable. So although you are there mentally, you are disturbed.
Wow.
So the menstrual health start with the awareness, letting the people be confident that, okay, what I'm using is fully.
How are we bridging the gap between cultural beliefs and where we want to get to, in terms of the conversations around menstrual hygiene? I mean, when I was a little young, there are some communities that you hear that on a particular day, or if a woman is menstruating, she's not supposed to go to the riverside, not go fetch water and all of that. As I'm growing, I'm thinking that what the traditional, or maybe the traditional leaders were seeking to achieve was still hygiene. I'm unable to talk about the spiritual side, but it's a if that's our source of water, that's our source of drinking water, and we allow the woman who is menstruating to go in there. But they say we shouldn't see menstruation as something that's not clean. Yeah. So with this message today, that do not see menstruation as an unclean thing to do, and bridging an example of what I've just cited, the cultural belief, how can we achieve that?
Yeah, so I think, like you rightly mentioned, we should get a motive why those kind of system where the norms were set. And we know the norms are set to direct individuals in society or as a group. So, like I said, if someone, let's start the free bleeding like I was talking about, or even do the dancing, the person goes and then it's not able to handle it well. A river that is flowing all over. Yeah. There's a drop, you don't know whether to still be on the surface, someone comes to fetch, people go and drink, and then you don't know what may happen. The health may trigger other things. Yeah. So this is what they were saying. But looking at where we are now, so even I'm sure once you go, even the first, people may not agree. Like the Teto Close State School, when we went, the headmaster was like, oh, this one is women issue, so you guys should go and sit down. But when we talked about them contributing in money, how does the daughter buy part? Does he know? Yeah. Then you feel like, okay, then I have a rule. So we'll go to these communities and then let the people know, okay, this was why these things, even some of them may just have it, don't go, but they don't tell you why. So if you know, okay, it was just to make sure the hygiene, like I say, people don't directly let the blood come into contact with drinking water. And then looking at what people use these days, called like the period underwear. Yeah. If you have a right side, there are sizes. If you have a side that fits you very well, there's no way you're going to get a leakage. Okay. So even coming to contact with that blood, it's not going to happen. So you go.
What do you look out for in terms of sizes? Your hip size or the size of your underwear?
I think the whole, because they come inside, you just look at the one that fits you. You go for one and then.
Because as you just said that if it fits, you may not get a leak, then it means that it has to really be tight fit, you know. Yeah,
tight, but not so much. Because if it's loose, it's likely that when you sleep, the sideways, it may pass, then come out. But if it's holding and it's trying to, you even turn and rotate, there's no way it's going to come out.
Okay.
Just like the case of the menstrual cup. If you insert it, you can even swim water with it and come, and there's nothing that's going to happen. Because the cup is actually sealing everything there. So you having even this and you can swim with it. Someone, there's no way you're going to pollute the water and shouldn't be prevented from even going closer to these water bodies. Okay. So I think we need continuous conversation. And then like this very year's theme, that we are looking at a world where people who menstruate are not held back by 2030. And you are not be held back based on their knowledge. We should all get that kind of enlightenment, like what we are doing currently today.
Okay.
We keep on extending the conversation, making sure people with disability all come on board. And then school attendance will improve on the aspect of menstruators, because they will not stay at home when they're menstruating. And by doing this, we can have a very unified front.
Okay.
Look, currently, the 2020-21 population census is telling us that Ghana has a female population of 50.7. Look at where the men are. And it seems the women rather issues are
a lot.
Are kept
and
under.
Not, yes, we have a lot of issues, but we're not apportioned a lot of solutions.
So if you are the majority of the population, why don't you set the agenda for the day?
Right.
So shouldn't let the men rather see what should be done or not to be done.
Okay, so at what point do you start a conversation with a person who's likely to menstruate? Is it when they have started? At what age? And what kind of language should you even be having? Should you use to communicate?
Yeah, so I think as early as they have their first menarche.
The menarche, yeah, so that's the first period.
Yes, it's some dark drop that will come into your panty.
Okay.
And then after that, the next day or two, the blood may come.
Okay, and should the child know of something called menarche? And I mean, I use child because I like to think you start menstruation at a younger period. And who should be doing the talking? The parents or the school? If it happens in the school, how can we make young people comfortable to want to talk about it?
Okay, so I think the conversation will start from the home and then it gets to the school. Currently, if you look at our curriculum, we have sexual health education.
Right.
And then they will tell you that kind of changes when a guy gets to, or you grow into adolescence, what the changes are. So by all means, you touch about it. But unfortunately, we've all passed through the system to where we are today. We didn't get so much of the education on that. So if your mother also keeps her mouth shut, you go to learn from friends who may either pollute you or get it wrong.
Okay.
So parents should actually be the first one. If the father can do it, fine.
Yeah.
But just that some people also may be shy to talk about it to their
Why
daughter.
so? That's what I'm trying to understand. Why so? Why do people shy away from conversations? Why ain't you shy, Kwame?
I think
at some point, were you ever shy to talk about it before you started following?
I didn't even know how to talk about it.
Right.
Until I met Khadija, and she actually started with me, and then.
Okay, and what's the response from your colleague men? How do they feel about you when you're talking about it?
Oh, it's cool. Sometimes people, I just say I get a call, you'll be like, oh, I'm on the phone with my girlfriend, I want you to talk about this.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, Yuma. So you talk and then it's like, okay, the girl asks her questions and then it's good. So I think it's actually helping.
I think it's Yuma that called you the last time, eh?
Yeah, Yuma called me. And it was interesting to share.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's good. There's a story of that sort. I think it's in Uganda. A lady, they were like, you use ash. When you are menstruating, either go and sit on a stone to absorb the blood, or you find ash and then just put it there to be absorbed. So the girl, for the very first time, when it happened, she went for ash, which was hot.
Ooh.
She threw it there and then it really bent her.
Wow.
So that's why the education is very important. If you don't get it from the right sources, people may be using other things that are not hygienic or the wrong methods, which will have health implications.
Okay. How can we help people who have had leaks? Maybe you meet somebody in church, workplace, school. How can you communicate so that the person is not embarrassed, or, you know, how can we help people in such situations? Because it happens, no matter how secured you are. Yeah. Nature is just so forceful that it sometimes wants to force its way out at some point. And so how do we help?
Yeah. So I think the initial, we can begin by letting people know the benefits of menstruation. Because it's a sign that you can't give birth. And looking at the world population, if women are second gods on earth,
thank you.
Without women, we would have all not been here.
I like this guy. I like you.
So actually starting from that point and letting people know even there are some communities that when you begin menstruation, they actually celebrate. It's like a party for you, for the girl.
Yeah.
So you feel, okay, I'm now into a woman, I'm going to become a woman or that kind of thing. So starting to let people know what is happening around the world and then what has brought us to where we are or who you are today is because of menstruation. And then the need to support. Assuming a girl is in a period and then or a menstruator is in a period and then doesn't have the material, it's going to limit the movement. Even the person cannot go to work. So, not you. If I was to be the one, will I be comfortable?
Of course not.
Not. So, if I'm not, how can I help?
Yeah.
Then we put ourselves in the situation, and I think that will open up.
It brings us to the conversation of availability of materials and supplies. People have called that government should at least subsidize taxes on materials. And people have also said that it should even be free. A child should go to school and know that there's material available. If I see my period today, before I go home for my mother to do something, there's some sort of first aid, the school can. How's the response? Is government looking into this, Because the last time I bought tampons, they're very expensive.
Very expensive. Very expensive. So I think even this very 28th of May, I had a Catholic Relief Agency, that's the Catholic Relief, the NGO, they also calling on this tax reduction. So it's a call that has been out there for a very long time, and we are hopeful our government responds. If you go to the US, UK, you go to the washrooms and then they leave them there. They actually leave the part there for you to pick. So I think Ghana, this may not even will not kill us if we also attempt to something of that sort. So I think it should be something we should consider, making them free. I think that would be the best. And then we menstruators should also be greedy to go and pack them home. Because there are instances when someone should go and have, let's say in the washroom, you see that kind of part that you pack them and take them home. It wouldn't help. So when we attempt, or when NGOs also attempt to leave them in the washroom, just go pick what you need. Like the first aid you mentioned. Pick what you need at that moment. So someone coming can also have one, his or herself. What
about those who are not able to go to school? Girls who are not able to go to school because of harms and all of that. But I've got a question here. They're almost turning you into a doctor. So let's see how you can help with some of the questions. So good morning, Emefa. I am happy listening to you and kudos. Please attend to my question. Of course I am. So can you please ask why the blood sometimes comes black for just 3 days and doesn't come again? This I'm going to need a medical doctor to come and attend to this. But can you attempt? Have you in any of your research, discovered that sometimes the blood will come black and it will not come again for 3 days? I may have to ask you a few follow-up questions. That is it consistent? Is it every day? Is it every now and then? Because as women, what we eat and all of that would, influence what comes out of you. So let me know if this is consistent. I'm sure I'll be referring you to a doctor rather than to Kwame. So this 3 days issue is becoming a matter. Somebody is also asked, have you been menstruating for 3 days? Is it good? So I'd appreciate a lot more questions on how you can stay hygienic, Okay, I see the person typing the question that we've asked. So please, good morning. Tell Kwame that Emma is watching him. Government should shop. Who's Emma? Emma says, is it Emma or Emma? Emma, let me know whether it is Emma or Emma.
Korea for Emma, she's not in Ghana. But if it's Emma, I think Emma is in Ghana.
Okay, Emma, if it is you are in Cape Coast and we've let the cat out of the bag this morning. But if it is Emma, maybe Emma is watching us via Facebook. We're streaming live and so. Okay, it's Emma from Cape Coast.
Emma from Cape Coast.
Emma, okay. Thank you. But Emma says that government should support, government should support. So, good morning, MFR. I'm Stella. Some married men will say to you, his wife don't sleep with him. She doesn't chat with him, but we'll see. Okay, I'm quite lost on that. Let me see. Good morning, MFA. I'm Stella from Kibi. In fact, the guy is good. Good job, my brother. Okay, Stella is sending you some kudos over there. So somebody's asking, what can cure menstrual pain? I haven't heard anything that cures menstrual pain yet. I haven't heard. In all my years of pain and in cramps, doctors will tell you that it will get better. They try to give the scientific, meaning to what's happening to your body. But if the pain is too much, you can visit a health facility and then they can give you some painkillers to reduce the pain as you go through your natural order. Okay, is it good for a lady to feel too much pain when she's menstruating? Well, Kwame, I'll allow you to deal with this one. Is it good for a woman to feel too much pain? Where too much pain means what? Yes. How much is too much pain for you? Is it something you cannot bear? Then would have to refer you to the hospital. But good morning to you and your viewers. About making the materials available, we in Ghana do politics with everything without thinking of tomorrow. Some years back, the Mahama administration shared part and it was demonized. I don't understand what that means, but it means that it wasn't supported.
Yeah.
And so it should have been something that was continued. Okay. Good morning, MFR. I think this kind of program or topic should be addressed or talked about in the evening because of our kids. Okay, so this is the whole problem where we want people to have conversations with their children at this age and not shy away from it, because menstruation has got nothing to do with, it's very, very natural. You start talking about them. S&M, I've seen your message, but this is just the objective of what we're trying to do. Talk about it so that the child, if it's a boy, he grows up learning and understanding what menstruation is so that he can help, a sister or a friend at some point. And if it's a woman, she's ready and not surprised at what happens. Okay, but thank you for your message, S&M. Good morning, MFA. I'm Hajia Rukaya. My daughter is 13 years old and her first menstruation lasted for 15 days. Is that normal? Have you heard things like that? First menstruation.
First menstruation. So
yes.
Like the 3 days we're talking about, for a starter, these things are expected.
Okay.
But once you go into the regular stream, then it should come the normal 5 or 7 days.
Okay.
But for 15, if the first flow, then that can be expected. But if it's continued, then like we are saying, and it's an abnormality,
yeah,
then you should
15
consult
days
the
is
doctor.
rather an abnormal. But she was specific that it's the first period. Yes, so let's see how her second one would go, and if it's a problem, would you'd have to take her to the hospital. So good morning, MFR. I am Justine from Kwabenya. Preventing women menstruating from visiting water bodies is simply to avoid pollutions. Thank you so much, Justine. That was clarified. Good morning, I'm Raha. I have not seen my period this month. I took a Raha. Raha nie. Okay, and I took a pregnancy test and it's negative. So please, what could be the cause? Raha, have you been doing things that can make you not menstruate? That will be my follow-up question. If you have been doing that, it's not enough to take a pregnancy test at home. Maybe, I'm sure you did a urinal test. Maybe you should go to the hospital and do a blood test. And I'm not too sure why you wouldn't menstruate. It's not normal. If you're not pregnant, then it's not normal. But please go to the hospital, okay? Raha. And I'm sure the doctor will ask you the first question I asked you. Have you been doing things that will not make you menstruate? Okay, so I'm Winnie, right?
Yeah, so about the menstruation, if your period doesn't come, I think there are 3 instances where it may not come.
Okay.
You may not have it. And one is the age. Let's say, how old are you?
Oh, so menopause and all of that.
So at that stage, you wouldn't expect your period to come.
But before you hit menopause and your menses or period would not come, won't your body give you some signs when you're hitting menopause? Does it just stop abruptly like that?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
So one is, like I'm saying, when you are in your menopause period.
All right.
And then the other is when you are pregnant. And then the other may be a health issue. Yeah. So if it doesn't come, either something is wrong inside there, and then you need to consult a doctor to actually advise. Okay. So Amweni Fita Asamanke says that under President Nana Akufo-Addo,
Ghana is moving forward, so NDC leaders should stop propaganda. Oh, Abweni, why won't you help me talk about my menstrual hygiene this morning? You want to start propaganda this morning? Anyway, thank you for watching and thank you for sending in your messages. Let me see. I've got this one. Hi, good morning. Okay, I'm on standby for your message. There's another one coming from the Volta region. Says that, good morning. This is Harry from Volta region. Please, why do women have mood swings during menstruation? Kwame, please deal with this. Is it true that we have mood swings?
Oh yeah, because we know you're not comfortable at that time, so anything can happen.
Good
you can
question.
Get angry.
Good question, Harry. Yeah.
So a bit about the menstrual cramps. This may not be a universal solution, but in case it's happening and you are not at work, one way is to get a towel, which is big enough, and then you fold it, put it down, and then you lie on it. Let it be in your abdomen, then you lie down flat on the floor.
Okay.
It's widely researched and then posited that can actually reduce the level of pain you have. But assuming you're at work like we are now, that may become very difficult to do.
Yeah. You can, my mom would make hot water and put a bottle and wrap a towel around it for me so I can take it to school or work, because if you can't afford the one that's in the pharmacy, the water bottle, to ease the pain, you can buy that method. Get a bottle, pour hot water in there, wrap it in a towel, and then you put it on your abdomen. But let's have some tips on how you can, menstrual hygiene. Give us some clear cuts. Yes. So
one, like I said, before you touch any menstrual material, if you are going to use it, is to make sure you get soap and then you wash your hands, which is very necessary because it's your health. So before you go there, anything goes there, you make sure that thing is clean.
Okay.
So like I said, if it's a cloth pad, it's good you wash it, and that's the first hygiene before you even get into contact with the blood. But assuming it's our regular pads, that may become difficult because you cannot wash. If you wash, that means it can't be used anymore because it has already absorbed the water. So that'll be difficult. So washing your hands is the first step. If it's let's say cup, you also wash it by boiling it. If it's a cloth pad, you also wash it and then dry and then you then use. And then making sure when you are going to change the pad, like I said, by all means, you have to carry the soap along.
Okay. So
that when you touch the pad, you may not see blood in your hands, but it's good you wash it because you may come next time, maybe it comes to your nose or your mouth, and then you may be transferring anything in there. So in the process of getting it to use, you get it clean, you get your hands clean, and then when you get it out, you also get your hands clean. And then also, if you are disposing it in a regular pad, which we dispose, they need to get a waste bin around where you can wrap it in a rubber, and then you don't leave it open. Because otherwise, if you leave it open, flies may come on it and then get out to be ourselves. So it's better you wrap it neatly, and then you drop it in that waste bin.
Okay.
There are other instances where schools that are able to do, they install incinerators. So you get the regular pad, you drop it in the incinerator, it will burn into ash. Which doesn't generate smoke. Okay. So for a period of time, the school can just come and then pick that and go and dispose. So these are just making sure the pad don't stay in the environment to cause any.
Okay. So this is indeed all hands on deck. Kingsford is asking that you take him through everything he needs to know after menstruation cycle, the stages involved during the menstruation. I don't know if you understand the question.
So like the stages involved, like I said, the first one is the ovulation.
Okay.
And the ovulation, assuming you are a 28 days menstruator, you ovulate on the 14th day after your period. The egg will release on the 14th day. So on the 14th day, and there's no contact with a sperm, you should expect that that egg will drop in the next 14 days. So that's how it comes 28 days. So it's released 14 days, it comes out in the next 14 days.
Okay.
So the first phase is the internal issues. So you ovulate, and now the eggs is bad, so it comes out menstruation. And before it comes out, like I said, if you're able to track it, so your education or your level of knowledge is also very key. Otherwise, so that you'll not be taken by surprises. Assuming you are going to the market on the way and then there's blood coming out, that'll be difficult. And this is where we need more of the men. Because if it's a lady will understand that, oh, Amma has things on her back. Amma hasn't seen it, but you may know, Amma, please wait. You go and find a cloth inside. But assuming a classroom, a girl sitting in front of me suddenly has blood, I may begin laughing.
Yeah.
And that's going to be embarrassing. She may not come to school the next time she's bleeding. So this is where we need to also let people get to know much of it. And it's part of the process.
Okay. Okay. So there's a follow-up question on the lady who says that she's been bleeding black 3 days, continues. She's asking whether or not contraceptive pills can block the blood. She says she's heard that contraceptive pills block the blood. Is that true? You think about the answer whilst I take a few other comments from here. Good morning. Please, I get my menses 7 days, but now it's just 4 days. Please, is it normal? Hi, Emefa. This is Ejiriba. The only cure to menstrual pain is divine healing. Trust me on this. All right. Thank you so much, Ejiriba. Kofi. So Honorable Nana Oyebampo made an attempt to supply free pass to girls in schools, but it was politicized and tagged as a occultic attempt to change the minds of Ghanaians. I think that policy should be reintroduced. Kofi Scarecrow. Really? Kofi, so Honorable, really? When we need those parts, okay? I'm sure that in everything, there are people who want to look at the bad side of it, and even if there's no bad side of it. I can't see how this can be occultic. Is it that when they use the patch, you come and collect it and take it somewhere or something? But I thank you for drawing our attention, and please tell Honorable not to relent on it, and please keep doing what she has to do. So good morning. Please, is it good to have menstruation 2 times in a month?
I think I've never come across.
Oh, it happens, but sometimes it's a disorder. Maybe you've taken a contraceptive pill, and so your period came before. I mean, so many factors can happen, but if it continues, then really, again, I'll say you'd have to go to the hospital. So I've got loads of your messages. I'm flooded with your messages. Please, I've been menstruating for 4 days and I've been experiencing serious abdominal pain. Is it normal? Because whenever I'm in my menstrual pain, I'm in my menstrual period, I cannot walk. I'm so sorry. I empathize with you and I understand that kind of pain. I can recommend some warm water, warm teas, and at some point, check with your doctor which painkiller would do for you. Paracetamol and ibuprofen also help. Okay, so speak to your doctor first, please. Good morning, MFA. I'm Sheila from Accra. My question is, in this age where parts are very expensive, what other alternatives can we use? Again, come in with the alternatives.
Yes. So there are alternatives, but they may be also expensive alternatives.
Okay.
For example, if you are going for a menstrual cup, you use it for 10 years before you buy another one.
Oh, right.
And then that one, like, you use it, you pour the blood out into, you dispose the blood unless in the water, the sink. And then you flush away. Within that same time, you don't need anything. You just, with water, you rinse it, clean with a tissue, you rinse it back. When you are done, you boil it and then go and store for 10 years. But getting one is around $20. So $20 times, let's say 7 cedi, that's like 140. Yeah,
but the 7 cedi, you're buying it every day, every month.
Every month.
Yeah.
But if you don't have upfront 140 Ghana, you may think that is...
Let's do susu. Okay. Let's do susu.
So that's an alternative.
And if you're going to go for the cloth one, the reusable one, which is very affordable, you just have to ensure that you're keeping it very hygienic so that you're safe. There's a very interesting question here. Abina from Ifidiasi says that, is it safe to have sex during menstruation? I feel no other question I feel no other question that.
You know, you can have your period and be pregnant.
Yes,
so like the one who was talking about the black blood and those stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, but
we know that you can be pregnant and still have your period. That's on the side.
Yes.
The main question on the table: can you have sex during menstruation?
I think we have to also consult on that. Yeah, I have to. You
have to ask.
I think it's also hygiene too. Whether the man is comfortable.
Yeah, please send me a message on this.
Whether the man is comfortable or whoever. It's not just whether the partners are comfortable.
Okay, but that. It's got no health implications or anything.
I think, like I said, maybe I also do an extensive session.
Abina, this is a very good question you've asked. You've asked on behalf of so many people, okay? Thank you. Except one thing, I know that in your period is the safest period. You know, there's no egg to be fertilized, right? Yeah. But as to how comfortable that can get, I'm not too sure. Let me know. Please send me a message if you ever attempt it and how it went, okay? Hi, good morning. My menses is not flowing well. Please, what is the best medicine for me? Okay, I'm sorry, we're unable to prescribe any medication for you.
The feeding may be key. You take more fruits within that period, and then you can have a free flow. Okay.
All right. So there's a question. Please, when I'm menstruating, it has a foul smell. I don't know why. Please, is there any reason? The smell that comes with.
So maybe the person may not be alone. So I think the material you use is key.
Okay, but so is there a natural odor that comes with?
Yes, it's a natural, Naturally, there's some kind of odor you expect. So the kind of material you use will also tell. Because like I'm saying, if you use a material that actually hold you tight, it doesn't allow for any... Unless when you go to your privacy and you want to open up, then it's so... Actually, you hear a bit of it. But if you have a material that actually is comfortable, not the low cost 1 cd pad, then it
should absorb an amount of smell or odor.
Yes.
Okay. So, hi, MFR. My name is Evelyn from Obuasi. My problem is, first, I used to have my menses 5 days, but now I'm having 3 days, and it's been going on for some time now. Please, what could be the problem? I'm sure there's an age factor, there's what you're eating factor. Are you on any contraceptive pills? You know, do you have any health? Do you need to, have you even checked? You need to screen yourself as a woman every now and then to be sure that health-wise you've been cleared on any possible or potential health, any illness.
And she eating well.
And she eat well. Okay, don't be like me. Yeah. Don't be like me. That's difficult to eat vegetables and fruit. Be like Jennifer. Okay. All right. Let me see. I've seen so many of your messages. Good morning. Please, can one miss her period or shift 1 month before coming? Abdul Rashid from Tamale. Abdul, what's the name? You want to know whether you can jump like
you decide to jump or
like we're entering June next month. You want to if you jump June 1 and it will come July.
You can. I think it's natural, something God has done. Yeah.
All right.
And just something small about the cramps. You know, like I said even before, when you ovulate, in the process of ovulation, you feel a pain. And that is pushing to make sure the egg comes out.
Okay.
And the same way, when we are menstruating, it's forcing to let all that blood come out. So that's how come the pains, you are feeling the pains, making sure all the blood is pushed out.
Okay.
Yes, so it's also something naturally to just make sure you are free or you are okay. That's how come it's happening.
Kwame, I'll give you 30 seconds to wrap up. Give us your final message on menstrual hygiene.
Yeah, so menstrual hygiene is something we are calling on everybody to support. And then the language we use when it comes to menstruation, we shouldn't consider it as something which is evil or bad. It's rather how we see that we are making it evil. Because if you think menstruation is bad, any menstruator will feel uncomfortable. The person may not contribute. Assuming today I was menstruating and then I don't have enough knowledge, psychologically I'll be threatened. I wouldn't come and sit here to talk.
Absolutely.
So let's accept ourselves as people who menstruate just to make sure God's creation continues. Because if you don't menstruate, you cannot procreate. So you see it as something that is actually making sure creation continues.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure that you've learned a thing or two. If you missed it, we're streaming on Facebook. I'm sorry I'm unable to read all of your messages and your questions. We'll take some time another time and discuss the issue of menstruation and all of the questions that are coming up. We've been talking to Kwame Gundo, our enterprise leader. You'd find him at Live Right, a subsidiary of Days for Girls. Thank you so much. And this was because we had a Menstrual Hygiene Day awareness on Saturday, but it was observed on Friday. I also want to remind you that it is World No Tobacco Day, as Ghana emphasizes on the many ways on which tobacco threatens the environment and even you. So take some time, learn a thing or two, and advise a person that you know has been taking tobacco. Thank you for joining us. As more on the show, do stay.